and welcome to another episode of Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Hey, Poonam.
Hi, Parker.
Hello. So we have a topic that comes up again in different forms. We're going to put it under balancing being and doing. There was an Oprah episode where Eckhart says that he sees Oprah as balancing a good 50-50 of being and doing, and that she does so much. She's really productive and efficient, it seems, with her doing, and he thought he might be 70 or 80%, 80% being and 20% doing, and that some teachers like Ramana Maharshi are 90% being and 10% doing. I made a note here, but I'm going to save that for a minute. Poonam has a lot of experience with balancing a job that requires a lot of critical thinking and fresh thinking and presence around redundant things that happen, but lots of mind activity. And so I wanted you to talk a little bit about how you balance being and doing so that you don't lose the joyful present moment and get wrapped up in your mind.
So to me, I think one of the benefits of being in presence is we tend to kind of enjoy the human interaction. So a job becomes, what is my next joyful interaction, whether it is on a phone call that we have to make or a conference call that we have to make, right? So yeah, we may be making a conference, like hosting a conference call, or we may be doing a demo, showing something on a webinar, right? Each thing becomes like a joyful, like you look forward to the joy of sharing that experience with other humans. And how can I actually inspire the others to gel together? And I'm like, my job is a project management job. So to me, getting the team to collaborate together is really, really important, because we are moving towards the goal of producing a project as an end result, right? So as Eckhart says, and a lot of both in School of Awakening, Conscious Manifestation, everywhere, his new talks, he talks about, it actually is not about the end result. Renounce the fruit of the action, as he says in his talk on the Bhagavad Gita. It's about enjoying every moment, every present moment, right? So it may be very simple. You're writing an email, but be joyful about writing the email. So that presence, like an email comes through, if it is, we detect that the energy is negative, then resting in our presence for a few minutes before we respond to the email, right? Wait for a few minutes, look out the window, look at a tree, become still, and then respond. And sure enough, out of that stillness, response out of stillness, we tend to dissolve the challenge, whatever. Instead of escalating into a problem, it just dissolves. The problem goes away, right? So that is one way of balancing being and doing. So a lot throughout the day, breath work, doing the counted breath, shaking, the presence through movement. Kim Ing had the shaking practice. So yeah, you cannot do it in the middle of the hallway, but you can always go into the restroom and shake your body vigorously, right? Shake your hands, and so let your energy move throughout your body. Go for a quick walk. Go for a 10-minute walk, right? Walk up and down the hallway. Like when you're on a conference call, instead of just sitting and letting your energy get contracted in one spot, get up while on the call. If you're not looking at the screen, walk up and down. So the energy is constantly, your consciousness is constantly moving. Then the whole, um, do a meditation practice in the morning and in the evening. So start your day with a meditation practice. Right.
Powerful. I really wanted to hear that because it's if we're going to go into an environment and use our mind a lot, and if we're working, especially in a unconscious environment, and that's what we're being dipped into, then the other side is required to anchor us through. It's sort of like a life jacket as we move into the thinking mind and a more unconscious environment. So this is the task allotted us as human beings, is to hold this balance, to be able to sense how much presence power we have, which means how quiet is our mind, how clearly can we sense the stillness and the peacefulness underneath every transaction, which means all the doing, all the transacting with other human beings and with our schedules. I wanted to mention something. There's a book called Getting It Done by David Allen, and on first glance you would think, I'm not reading it. There's no presence in a book like that. But this David Allen he learned a tremendous amount of Eastern practice before he wrote this book. And one thing that he says is that if you create a system literally out of everything, all your dues, right? If you take it out of your head and have an external organized system that you actually use and review regularly, eventually you begin to trust this good system, and you free your mind from a tremendous amount of repetitive thinking. And it's just, so what he's done is he's taken Eastern philosophy and Eastern practices, spiritual practices. And so this is what it looks like when you start doing again. You can do it intelligently and wisely, and you can take a lot of the busy mind and put it in put it out here externally, and he kind of enlightens the way. So I enjoyed that very much, and I will be seeing if I can't enhance the organization, and taking some of the repetitive tasks and making them more efficient. So very beautiful. We're balancing it. How do you know you're balancing it, or where your balance is? Authentically sensing how much you can be between these words. Or when I'm talking, can you still sense the stillness and the peacefulness in your body? I recommend also putting your attention inside your body. You might even have like a little egg timer if you don't have meetings and phone calls and things. Put a little egg timer, and once an hour do a check-in, do the breath work practice that we have a few videos, and we'll have more on this channel, and do the 4-count breath that Poonam recommends, who works in an environment like this. If you sense that there's stress or tension or reactivity coming in, that's like a red, like, stop what you're doing and take the walk like Poonam suggested. I love that there's many new offices where people can go and do that. It's not there's a park nearby, even if there's not nature nearby. Well, park is nature, but you know what I'm saying. So the state of grace, a willingness to say yes to what is, as Poonam was pointing out. To say thank you for everything. Another red flag would be the complaining mind. If you're no longer grateful and the complaining mind comes up. So there's two ways I've seen it said, you know, to just be joyful, to just be grateful, or does the gratitude and joyfulness flow from that state of presence all by itself? Or do we need to bring it in? And I don't have the answer to that. Do you have the answer to that, Susan? Is it both?
The state of joyfulness?
Yes. Is it something that we can just bring in spontaneously?
I think if we have enough of a depth of presence, we do enough of meditation. Like Eckhart says, yeah, you may be doing like he was telling a waitress, right? Yeah, you may be an actress or wanting to be an actress, but right now your job is being a waitress. So let your joy flow in how you lay down the cutlery, how you greet your customer. Because if we don't honor and hold sacred this present moment, then the universe does not honor and hold us sacred, right? So yeah, we may be doing a corporate America job that may not be the ultimate goal or what we actually want to do in our life, but we have to honor and hold sacred that this is right now bringing us abundance. This is not right now paying our bills, right? Giving us food, shelter, and clothing. So we have to honor it. For the waitress, she had to honor her present moment, right? So that's one thing that we have to remember, that as we are doing the work, joy comes out of that gratitude, that appreciation that out of this job, I'm actually getting food, shelter, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I noticed is the past 2-3 years, instead of the competitiveness of corporate America, right? The mindset changes. We just want everyone to be successful. No longer are we looking at success for ourselves only. So I remember 2 years back, I helped one of my coworkers. Um, we had a reduction in force. There were very few people. So I did learn a lot from the technical person, and I would do their work to save them trouble, right? They didn't have enough time in their day. So I would take it on. And I made my coworker, who was a project manager, successful in his projects through doing the technical person's work for him, right? So no longer that, there's a concept in corporate America called agile teams. Like Spotify has started it. Most successful company that has implemented agile is Spotify. And the concept of agile, or the foundation of agile, is collaboration, cooperation, um, teamwork, um, what is empathy. But how are you going to have collaboration and cooperation and empathy if you're always competing, wanting to show that the other person is less than you, right? Which is the way the society is set up, that we hold track meets, and we have football, and we have baseball, where there's always a team and there's always competition, and my team is better than yours kind of concept in the collective, right? So how do we drop that? It is because of presence we can drop it. that emotional, now the term used in corporate America is emotional intelligence, but emotional intelligence is presence. The more presence rises, the more empathetic we can be, and we can look at the team's success more than my, I, me, mine, I success, right? If the team
Yeah.
becomes successful, then the company is successful. So that's
But
Spotify's success.
that's a lovely shift. Thank you for sharing that and for sharing your wisdom on this. And I
Thank you.
love seeing your grace as a result of it.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the topic. Grateful for it, Parker. Interesting.
Mm.